You've probably had this happen, right? You ask an AI a question, and the answer it gives you sounds so confident, so sure of itself, but it's just plain wrong. It's a really strange phenomenon. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out why these incredibly smart AI tools sometimes, well, just make stuff up. Let's get right into it.
And just so you know where we're getting our information, this whole explainer comes from Chapter 8 of the tutorial, Introduction to Artificial Intelligence by Virtualization Options LLC. I'm sure you've seen these pictures online. You ask an AI to create an image of a person, and it looks fantastic at first glance. But then you look a little closer, you start counting the fingers, and yep, there are 6 of them. It's that classic, kind of creepy example of a much bigger issue. So what is actually going on here?
Well, this whole thing actually has a name. The term for it is AI hallucination. Now, that term is borrowed from psychology, and it's not a perfect fit, but it really does capture that strange feeling, doesn't it? When the AI confidently presents something to you that just isn't real.
So let's be super clear about what this means. The word hallucination can be a little misleading because the AI isn't seeing things the way a person might. It's more like it's a confident liar. It generates stuff that's totally made up, incorrect, or just makes no sense at all, but it presents it as if it's 100% fact. It's not confused, it's just following its programming to a fault.
So why on earth does this even happen? I think the best way to wrap your head around it is to picture the AI as this super eager assistant. You know the type. They really want to help, they want to give you an answer for everything, but they don't actually know everything. Their number one goal isn't to be factually correct, it's to sound helpful and give you a smooth, fluent answer.
And this right here is the absolute key to understanding the whole thing. The AI isn't thinking, it's a prediction machine. See, it's been trained on a mind-boggling amount of text, and from all that, it's learned one main thing: statistical patterns. Its entire job is just to predict the most likely next word in a sentence. So if you say, the capital of France is, it knows Paris is the most probable next word. And here's the crucial part. It's built to sound correct, not to be correct. It's a master of patterns, not a seeker of truth.
And you can almost create the perfect storm for these hallucinations to happen. If there are gaps in its training data, like you ask about a really obscure topic, it's just going to try to fill in those gaps with something that sounds right. If your questions are vague, well, it has to guess what you mean. And here's a big one. Most AIs are literally designed to always give an answer. They'd rather make something up than just say, sorry, I don't know.
All right, so these fake-outs aren't all the same. They come in a few different flavors. Think of this next part as a kind of rogues gallery of common hallucinations. Once you know what to look for, you'll start spotting them everywhere.
Okay, here's our lineup of the usual suspects. You've got totally made-up sources, fake statistics, information that's real but credited to the wrong person, and my personal favorite, just flat-out wrong statements delivered with total confidence. Sometimes it'll even contradict itself in the same breath. And of course, you have the weird visual stuff, like our old friend, the six-fingered hand.
Okay, this first one is a big one, and it's a huge trap, especially if you're doing research or schoolwork. You ask the AI for its sources, and it spits out this perfectly formatted list of articles, authors, journals. They look totally legit. The problem? They don't exist. They're completely fabricated. It's a perfect example of the AI knowing what a citation looks like without understanding what it is.
And it's the same deal with statistics. The AI is a master at making up numbers that sound specific and believable. It knows that a sentence with a number like, say, 73.4% of users sounds way more authoritative. But where does that number come from? A lot of the time, it's pulled from thin air just because it fits the pattern of a convincing fact.
Now, these next two are a little different, but they're both super common. On one side, you have misattributed information. This is when the AI knows a real fact, but it gets the who, what, or when wrong, like giving a famous quote to the wrong person. Then on the other side, you have just confident inaccuracies. This is where it states something that's completely false, but does it with such authority you're tempted to believe it. And that unwavering confidence is what makes it so tricky.
Okay, so we know what these things are, why they happen, and what they look like. So now for the most important part. What can we actually do about it? Let's put together a practical fact-checking toolkit you can start using right away.
So you've got a two-pronged attack here. First, prevention. You can actually lower the chances of hallucination by being super specific with your prompts. The less wiggle room you give the AI to guess, the better. Then there's detection. This part is on you. You have to become a bit of a detective.
Cross-reference what it tells you with sources you already trust. If it gives you a citation, actually look it up. The bottom line is, you just can't take its word for it.
And this is just common sense, right? The stakes really, really matter. I mean, if you're using AI to brainstorm silly ideas for a screenplay, who cares if it hallucinates? It might even be useful. But if you're using it for your homework, a report for work, or anything where the facts actually matter, then that human verification step isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely non-negotiable.
So let's bring this all home. What's the final verdict here? The most important thing to remember is how to use this tool responsibly, knowing that these little fabrications are a built-in feature, not some random bug.
And listen, if you take away only one thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. Do not rely on AI for things like medical advice, legal questions, or big financial decisions. An AI can write something that looks like a brilliant legal argument or a spot-on medical diagnosis, but since we know it could be a total fabrication, betting your health or your finances on it is just incredibly risky. You have to talk to a real human expert in those situations, always.
So really, it all comes down to having the right mindset. Think of AI as an amazing assistant. It's an incredible tool for brainstorming, for getting you started on research, or for banging out that first rough draft. But it's an assistant, not an all-knowing oracle. It's the starting point. You, the human, are the one who has to check the work, edit it, and ultimately be responsible for the final product.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? AI is a massively powerful tool, and it's not going anywhere. The key is understanding its weaknesses, like its tendency to just make things up, so we can use its strengths safely. And that leaves us with a pretty big question. As this amazing assistant gets even more powerful, how are you going to make sure you're the one in charge?